What's up, everyone? Thank y'all for tuning in. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to color grade in Davinci Resolve Studio 19. And yeah, we're just going to hop right into it. So first things first, let's go to the settings. It's bottom right there. And as you can see, my timeline resolution 3840 by 2160. And I'm gonna go to color management, and this is what my color management is looking like. My color science Davinci YRGB. And the reason I didn't do color manage is because I want to transform it myself with the color space transform tool, as you'll see in a little bit. So we'll keep it YRGB. Next, timeline color space is Rec 709. So once I convert the footage, I'll be able to see it in Rec 709, and the output color space is Davinci YG intermediate, wide gamut intermediate. All right, cool. Now that we got that squared away, first things first, I think my mouse is dying. Hold on. Let's see. No, it's on 78%. All right, anyway, first things first, you see we have node tree. So off the bat, just make 3 of these and just space them out a little bit. One in the beginning, one in the middle, one in the end. All right, so we're gonna go to the first one. And if you was to shoot in RAW, you would go down to this camera raw tool and dial in your settings, but I didn't shoot in RAW. As you can see right here, I shot Apple ProRes 422 HQ, which is like the main codec I shoot in, because it's like the middle is really high quality, but with a smaller file size. So that's why I shoot in that one. Here we go. So I'm gonna add the color space transform tool. I'm gonna add it to all of these real quick, just so I don't have to keep adding it on. All right, so for the first one, my input color space, Rec 2020, boom. Input gamma is gonna be in log. And as you can see, it already did something. It doesn't look that good though. And then my output color space is gonna be Davinci wide gamut. Then my output gamma, Davinci, did I pass it? Davinci intermediate, boom. Okay, so that gives me a nice base. Next, I'm going to do color space transform again. And my input color space is going to be the output color space of this one. So this one's going to be Davinci wide gamut. Input gamma is going to be, where'd it go? Davinci intermediate. And then output color space is going to be Rec 709. And then the output gamma is going to be Gamma 2.4. As you can see, got a nice image. It's looking basically like how it would look if I was to shoot in one of my cameras already colored profiles. All right, so next we're going to go to this last one. Input color space is going to be, you guessed it, the output color space of the previous one before. So Rec 709. Input gamma, that's going to be the 2.4, Gamma 2.4. Output color space, we're going to do Rec 709 again. And then output gamma, this is where it gets interesting. We are going to do, I think I passed it, Cineon film log. So basically, once you put this Cineon film log in, this will kind of take your footage back to some type of log profile. And basically what this allows me to do is then go to my LUTs and I can add on a film look. There's a bunch of like Fuji and Kodak film looks that I'm going to use over here. So let's add a serial node. We'll do one, and the shortcut is Option or Alt S. So that's 4. Boom. So now I'm just simply gonna add a LUT. Whichever LUT looks the best to me that I'm feeling. And you know, this is just a starting point. I will be able to do some more coloring on that. So I'm just cycling through, see which one I like. I think I'm gonna use this Rec 709 Kodak 283. Let me see. Is there really a difference between these two? I'm gonna use this one. So drag that one over here, boom. Now we got a really cool starting point to get a nice filmic color grade. All right, so what I'm gonna do next is start messing with my exposure and color. So I'm gonna go to this first one and then make a node after that, Alt S. And then I'm just gonna focus on exposure on this one. So as you can see, I got my scopes down here. This is my parade. Also, you got a waveform, but I like parade. I like to see my reds, greens, and blues. And off the back, I may do this unconventionally, but I want to bring down the brightness, especially of this light. So I think for that, I'm gonna use the HDR. Actually, no. I'm gonna go to here first. What is this, my curves? Yeah, curves. And I'm just gonna bring that down all the way. I like to do drastic just to see how it looks. So I think about there is good for here. And then, you know, you could toggle it on and off. Actually, it's right here. You can toggle it on and off, and that did help. That helped a little bit. All right, next I'm gonna go to HDR. My HDR color wheels, and I'm going to go to highlights. And I'm gonna mess with this exposure, bringing it down and bringing it up. Is that doing anything? It did a little something. So highlights, then I'm gonna go to my light, which will probably do the most. I'm gonna bring that down until I see that these are not hitting over this line over here. So that's a good spot, and I could probably bring my highlights up just a little bit. So I think that's a good spot. That's a pretty good spot for me, and I'm gonna just toggle it on and back off. It's looking pretty good. So after that, I'm gonna make another, what is it, node? No, that's such a funny name, node. So one right after there. And I don't really label mine. Once I get more serious about color grading, especially like for other people's projects, I'll probably start labeling them. So for this one, I'm gonna focus on color correction. So I'll go here, and it's looking a little warmish, and that's because there's a lot of reds. So either I can mess with the color temperature, which I'm probably not going to do too much with that, because this was a creative choice as far as when I filmed it. So I'm just gonna mess with the gamma and the lift. So let's see, if I bring some of the reds down, that did a little something. And it's just subtle stuff. I'm not trying to go too crazy. I can bring some of the greens down in my gain. And then the offset. Okay, it's not looking too bad. It's looking a little more even. And I want to get it as even as possible because I'm going to end up using the film look. What is it called? I don't remember the name of it. The film look creator to dial stuff in even more. So I'm trying to get it as even as possible when it comes to color, white balance, stuff like that. And that's looking okay. And just to see how far we've came, I'm gonna select all of the serial nodes, and I'm gonna hit, I think it's Alt D, just to turn it off. And that's where we were before. And after color space transform and some minor adjustments in exposure and color, this is where we are now. And now that I did that, which is helpful, it's helpful to look at where you were before, because now I see like I can take out a little of the magenta from like, I think it's the highlights. Let's see, the gain. Yeah, that's looking okay. All right, so I think I'm happy with those little adjustments I did. Just so you all can see not a wide shot, full screen. That's before, that's after, before, after. And I didn't want to go too crazy because I'm about to go even crazier with the film look creator. So after that, I'm gonna go all the way to the end node. Then I'm gonna hit Alt S to create another node. And then with these, I like to just window them so they don't get too cluttered. And then I'm gonna add the film look creator on here, like that. And off jump, it did something, but I don't want to do too much right there. So I'm gonna go head over here. It goes to the default. I'm gonna just go to clean slate. So nothing's really added up there. And then I'm going to turn on my film look blend, turn it all the way up, just like that. You can see it did a little something. Kind of desaturated, took down some of them reds a little bit. And then here on the core look, I get to choose which look I want. So we got cinematic, which is right now, Rochester. Then we got Akasaka. Said that right? Then we got elated. And we got vintage. And really, I think I'm feeling the Rochester one just because it's not too far from what I had going on. It just desaturated a little bit, took out some of those reds, and it tried to even out the parade down here that you see. So I'm gonna stick with Rochester. And then you have this thing called skin bias. And really it's like, it protects the tone of the skin, like the color, I've noticed. So if you go more towards here, you start bringing the color back into the skin. Over here, not so much. So I'm gonna go over a little bit, not all the way, but about there. And then I can dial this in to my liking. So I'm not going all the way, but maybe like around here. And then the on and off just to see slight. All right, so I don't really mess with the exposure too much on this because I've already done that. But I am definitely going to mess with the subtractive saturation and the richness. So richness, it just adds that color back in. And then sometimes I play with the richness and then go back up to skin bias just to see if I can get my skin tones to be more correct. So bring that about there is good. Take some of that richness away. And then you got subtractive saturation. So bring that up just a little bit. I like saturation personally, but you know, if you're coloring for somebody else, of course, it's cool to ask them what they like, what they go for. So I think about there is good. Let's see where we were before. Is before, after, right there. All right, after that. Oh, and this is bleach bypass. So it's like a desaturator. That's what it seems like to me. So next, split toning. Enable split toning. And sometimes I can get carried away with this part. It's easy to get carried away with because you see so many cool things. So right now the amount is at 0. I'm gonna bring it all the way up. And that's OD. But sometimes bringing it all the way up allows you to see how drastic it could be and like help you dial in your hue angle. So I know I want to keep my skin tone as close to natural as possible. So I'm going to wait till I land on something a little more orange in my skin tone. So about there. And then bring that all the way down. And then after that, I can mess with the amount. So this is what I got so far. This is before. No split toning. After with the split toning. feel like it just adds more separation between the colors, the tones. It's really what it is. And then you can like use the pivot to really choose a side you want to go. So I don't want to be there. I don't want to be here. So let me go meet in the middle. So about there is good, I think. So let's see the before of the whole thing. So that's before. Sometimes it's good to just look at the before for a little bit, just to get your eyes adjusted, because just looking at the screen sometimes you can probably start having misjudgment, but just because you've been looking at it for so long. So that's the before, and this is the after, and I'm actually okay with it. Like, this actually looks pretty decent. All right, so vignette, I don't really do vignette too much. I kind of feel like my lenses have like a natural vignette. I'm going to enable the bloom, and usually I just boost that all the way up, and then try to dial it back a little bit, and then before and after. This bloom is not like what's it called? Dehancer. The dehancer bloom is way more like harsh. All right, so let me get out of that. Turn that back on. So this is looking pretty okay. I do think I'm gonna mess with the white balance a little bit up here. I feel like it's a little too warm. If I could just bring it down a little bit. Think to about there. Boom, and then I mean, I could add a little green, but the Nikon Z6 actually has like a nice grain pattern. Like, I did not think it would be this nice. Like, I don't see myself needing to add too much more grain. I might add a little bit, but I'll only need a little bit, because this already has like a pretty decent grain pattern to it. Like, it already looks like I added grain to it. So I'm gonna just enhance that grain. I'm gonna bring that size down as low as possible, and then bring the amount of my gain down a little bit, like that. And yeah, I don't need too much grain. So we're gonna exit out of there. And then next would be halation. If you're really going for the extreme film look, add some halation in, enable halation, turn the highlights off, and then you can really see it. But I'm gonna turn it down, because I'm not a big, huge fan of halation. It like screams, like, sometimes I ain't gonna lie, it screams amateur colorist, and I don't want to be an amateur colorist. I want to dial it in, and I want to dial it into a point where it looks like believable. So I think about there is good. I could probably go up a little more, but I did not add too much at all. Boom. And then lastly, I'm gonna add a what do you call it? Let me find it in effects, an adjustment clip. So I'm gonna add this adjustment clip over my footage. This is like an adjustment layer from Premiere. Same concept. Then go to that adjustment clip, and this is where I'm gonna add some sharpness, and I'm also going to dial in my skin tone a little bit better. So for this first one, I'm gonna pull up my vector scope. Pull up the vector scope, and you wanna make sure you have, where is it? Show skin tone indicator. It's gonna give you this line. Let me zoom in a little bit. Dang, I can't move this over. All right, so I'm gonna pick my skin tone, boom, straight like that. Then I'm gonna drastically change it. And with this, you want to make sure you're not going past the line left or right. Let me see. And that just helps you dial it in. Like, I barely moved it up at all. Like, barely. And then we can go here to sharpness. Actually, I could add a little more red in because I'm starting to realize that my lips look desaturated. I'm over here with some desaturated lips. It's crazy. Y'all gonna tell me my lips was desaturated? Boom. All right, now I gotta look like I got on lipstick. So yeah, my lips looked a little desaturated, y'all. That's crazy. All right, now I'm happy with this image with my undesaturated lips. So let's go ahead and, yeah, that looks way better. My lips aren't so desaturated. And then lastly, I just add a sharpen mask. Or, matter of fact, I'm not going to add a sharpen mask. I'm going to add, it's called contrast pop. So let me type that in, pull that up. Contrast pop, boom. So we're going to throw that on there. And mess with the detail amount. See, that's clearly too much, and that's clearly not enough. So I'm just gonna add some to taste. I actually think that's enough. Or just went to 1. Let's see. Yeah. Added a little more contrast back in. And now that I think about it, I could probably lessen that bloom just a little bit. That bloom is a little too hot. All right, so I think I am happy with this final look. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. This is more like of a heavier grade, adding film emulation plugins to it. So this is the before and this is the after. I think it looks pretty good. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. And I guess I'm gonna have to do an Adobe Premiere one. I think I'm gonna do a couple of these, doing different scenarios of color grading. So y'all catch me on the next video. Thank y'all for watching. Road to 1K. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Road to 1K. So y'all help me out in the algorithm by liking this video, share it, save it, add to a playlist, whatever you want to do just to show your support. I appreciate y'all. And all right, keep creating.